No, I don't think that's one of your ancestors. Dear Tim and Moby, I would like to know about the history of computers. Thank you. Serena. You might be surprised by how far back the history of computers goes. Nowadays, a computer is defined as a machine that stores and processes information and that can be programmed to carry out instructions. But computer used to refer to an actual person who computed, often using a device like the abacus or the slide rule. The first programmable machine was invented in 1801. It was a loom, a machine for weaving cloth. Invented by French weaver Joseph-Marie Jacquard, the loom was strung with punched cards that let colored threads through to form different patterns. A few decades later, in 1837, British mathematician Charles Babbage realized that these punch cards could also store numbers and other data. Using this technology, Babbage designed a computer he called the Analytical Engine. Although he never managed to build the entire machine, Babbage was a major computer science pioneer. His punched data cards were used in computers through the 1970s. Like the U.S. government used a punch card machine to conduct the 1890 census, a report on population trends. Babbage also developed the conditional statement, a program that lets computers select from a set of actions to perform. Well, computer technology really started to improve in the 20th century. A number of different machines could claim the title of earliest computer. It really just depends on your definition of the word computer. The Z3, built by German Konrad Zuse in 1941, was the first programmable computer that wasn't tied to a specific function, like weaving cloth or calculating bills. In 1944, Harvard University and IBM joined up to build the Mark I, a giant calculator that could perform any number of mathematical equations. It ran on an electric motor and weighed 5 tons. The Electronic Numeral Integrator and Calculator, or ENIAC, was introduced in 1945. Even bigger than the Mark I, ENIAC could perform 5,000 operations per second, which was huge at the time. In fact, it was so powerful that it was used to help build the hydrogen bomb. Well, a lot of these early computers were built by hand, so each machine was one of a kind, and they were really expensive and fragile. Plus, they were huge, taking up whole rooms that had to be specially air-conditioned so the machinery wouldn't overheat. But in 1959, miniature electronic devices called integrated circuits were invented. This meant that millions of transistors, the switches that controlled the flow of electricity in a computer, could be mass-produced. Transistors were tiny compared to the vacuum tubes they replaced. Computers became even smaller and more powerful with the invention of the microprocessor, a silicon chip that could hold thousands of transistors and other electrical parts. This made computers small, cheap, fast, and accessible. By the 1970s, there were handheld calculators more powerful than those room-sized computers of the 1940s. And in 1977, Apple produced what became the first popular home computer, the Apple II. Meanwhile, microprocessors kept getting smaller. Now millions of transistors can fit on a piece of silicon the size of a fingernail. And software tools like word processors, spreadsheet programs, email, and the World Wide Web made personal computers useful for ordinary people. Right, computers have worked their way into other technologies too, from household appliances to cars to toys. Computers are likely to keep getting smaller, faster, cheaper, and more powerful for a long time. No, I don't think you belong in a museum. Yet.